special interest groups we have down here. There's lobbyists for everybody. The only group that doesn't have a lobbyist are the citizens. So I said, that sort of rang with me, and I said, lobbyists for citizens. So what I did was I established a 501c4 called Lobbyists for Citizens. And what I did was I wanted to understand how local county government worked. So I went to commissioner meetings, I took my camcorder, and I taught myself how to edit videotapes. So one of the first videos I took was Lake County Commissioner Ron Young on his last day as commissioner. He said, "Brian, would you record me?" I said, "Sure." Didn't know what he was going to say, but set up my camcorder. Got it on YouTube. You can find it on my YouTube video or on Lobbyists for Citizens. He said two things. The two top priorities of government is to protect itself and to grow. And this is a guy that was a state representative. He'd been in government for 30 years. He was a state rep and also a county commissioner. And then he said the top priorities of any elected official, the two top priorities, was to protect themselves and get reelected. No mention of what is in the best interest of the citizens. I found that appalling. And it's very eye-opening to me. But I played that over, I don't know how many thousands of years we've had it, but I mentioned that so that the average citizen understands. I understand this group is really for limited government. How many really think we've got a limited government? Again, with my accounting background, and I now, I don't know how many hundreds of public records requests I've asked, but I would go to the taxing authority and I said, I wanted to see 5 years worth of your financial statements. Because what I wanted to see, I wanted the numbers to talk to me and say, what is really happening? So I went to Deepwood, I went to Metro Parks, the crime lab, as many as I could find. And what I found was an accumulation of cash in their cash reserves. They and I went back, for example, Deepwood had $65 million. The Lake Metro Parks had over $37 million. The crime lab had $10 million. I asked Chuck Colson, who's the prosecutor, I said, well, why did you ask for so much millage if you're accumulating $1.6 million more a year in cash than you need to run the crime lab? And his response, well, now I don't have to go back to the people for 15 years. That's a problem. Commissioners, you cannot continue to suck the lifeblood out of the community. That money has got to be in the hands of the people so they can spend it to keep the local economy going. I then found out that we were going to have about a 30% revaluation of property values. I knew it a year before it actually happened. So I said to the auditor, I said, and to other officials, I said, well, we've got to get this information out to the people. Because I am really big. When I started Lobbyists for Citizens, I said, honesty, integrity, and transparency is the key to good governance. And how do I ensure that? I ensure that by exposing the lies, the deceptions, and the betrayals. When I found out that there was going to be a 30% revaluation, I said, well, we've got to calculate how much each taxing authority is going to generate and how much each individual, based on their taxing district, how much are they going to pay additional. Ryan, you can't do that. I said, what do you mean you can't? Well, if you tell the people the truth, they're not going to vote for the levies that are on the ballot. I really couldn't understand that. But I understand it is one huge deception. So what I did was, I again, because my background, I was able to calculate how much each taxing district was going to get and how much each person by taxing district. There's one taxing district in Willoughby East Lake School District. I said, my number shows that they're going to get over $8 million additional taxes a year without a vote of the taxpayer. I said, every taxpayer is going to have to pay an additional $210 per $100,000 of market value of the property. I told people this, they said, Brian, you're wrong, you don't know what you're doing. They believe me now. Willoughby Eastley got over $8.8 million as a school district. The dirty little secret is all of these taxing authorities did not have to accept that money that came in. And that was told to me by Dave Thomas, the representative from Ashtabula. Friend of mine, Christian brother, Leonard Gilbert, and I, we were talking, we said, this is just not right. Seniors were calling and complaining to us that they can't afford the taxes. We said, let's see if we can get with our local representative. Again, we've got a representative democracy. Some people call it a constitutional republic, representative democracy. I'm starting to question whether we've got that at all. Because when I tried to reach Jamie Callender, I tried to reach Dan Troy, and I tried to reach Jerry Serino, no one would even talk to us. We said, well, wait a minute, let's go down to the state capitol. We went down, I spoke before the House Ways and Means Committee. Very nice, they're all smiling. Nothing. I went before the Representative Romer's committee to review and reform. This is before that 836-page report that did nothing. That's what they were working on. I started to explain what I found out about Willoughby East Lake Schools as an example. You know what they did? They censored my speech. They played classical music over what I was saying. I wrote to my representatives, because they're supposed to be looking out for the average citizen. And I also wrote to Romer, and I said, you censored my speech. And they said, Mr. Massie, was just a glitch. I see. So, no one said, Mr. Massie, you come back down and you get it on the record. Or Callender and Troy and Serino, they didn't say, Brian, I'll get that on the record for you. I question whether or not we really have a representative government. Or are they representing their donor class? I go back to what Brian Young told me. The two top priorities of any elected official is to protect themselves being reelected. And we've got a growing government. We don't have a limited government. What I'm telling people now is we have a public sector that has outgrown the private sector's ability to pay for the services. We started that campaign, SOS, SOS, Save Our Seniors. Then we found out there will be no carve-outs for seniors at all. I said, well, who's looking out for the seniors? The answer is no. So when we got the, we tried one last time. We said, let's invite all of the reps and the senators. We rented a room right in the Capitol. No one showed up. The only ones that showed up, there was about a half a dozen of their aides, legislative aides. No one was over 35 years of age. So I started to talk to them about my story of home ownership. It's the foundation of our freedom and liberty. If we don't own anything, what are we? But merely serfs to a government. Then I realized no one was nodding their head. That age range, under 35, they don't have the same American dream that we all experienced. That we benefited for all those people that sacrificed during World War II. That we all lived a great life. And what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to make sure that this generation enjoys the same thing. That they wouldn't help the seniors. We said, we've got to starve the beast. And by starve the beast, we said, we're going to eliminate it all. Take it all away. So what we did is we formed a committee. Leonard Gilbert and I, we invited 3 other people to join us. The thing that we were lacking was a lawyer. Couldn't find a judicial watch, they wouldn't do anything. Tom Renz, he wouldn't do anything. I was at a Republican meeting in Lake County, and I mentioned my dilemma, I need an attorney. God sent us a lady by the name of Vesta. She raised her hand. She says, I believe in what you're doing. I'll help you write the amendment. So we wrote the amendment, we sent it to the Attorney General, he approved it. It's very simple. Eliminate all property taxes. They sent it to the Secretary of State, to the ballot board. I spoke before the ballot board, and we recorded the whole thing. Within a half hour, they said, you're good to go. So that gave us the right to start collecting signatures. We need 413,488 valid registered voters. Our goal is 620,000, which is about 15% of the votes in the last gubernatorial election. Jerry Serino was at a meeting in Willoughby, Ohio. The commissioners had wanted to talk to all of the politicians in Lake County, and Serino got up very boldly, declared war on we the people. I've got it recorded. You can see it. That's one nice thing. We now live stream through Ohio Political News, and I record everything, edit the videos, and get it to the people. So it's not just hearsay or anything like that. What Serino said, this is it's irresponsible for us to do that without how we're going to replace it, and he's suggesting to those people in the room that they talk to 100 people that they know not to sign the petition and not to vote for it if it ever gets on the ballot. So Serino declaring war, I said, okay, you're declaring war, we're on war footing, so we're not revealing anything. People in Maryland, they said, Brian, I've got some donors, and I'll give you lots of money. You just need to tell me how many signatures you have. They really think I'm stupid. Really. So I said, we're not telling you anything. You never tell the enemy the intel. So what we have done, we have divided the state into 11 different zones, 8 counties per zone. We also have we have regional captains in each zone that are driving this for us. We also have a processing center. Interesting story, I had to take the processing center out of my home because more than one person said, Brian, you better move it out of your house. When you're dealing with $22 billion, somebody could fire a bomb. You also should start carrying, using your Second Amendment rights. And I think to myself, what have we become? What have we become? When we, the people, have no representation with our state government. And we've got local governments that are continuing to suck the lifeblood out of us where we can't even afford our homes. I've been trying to educate people on inside-outside village. It goes right over their head. Even state legislators don't understand the complex system. So how can you be voting on something that you don't even understand? People ask me, well, Brian, how are you going to replace it? I'm not going to replace it. Our legislators have sworn an oath. Follow the U.S. Constitution and the Ohio Constitution, right? Life, liberty, used to be property, they changed it to pursuit of happiness. You take a look at Article 1 of the Ohio Constitution. It talks about protecting property. They're not doing that. They don't care one whit about you. Not at all. Some legislators have gotten back to me and said, well, they're thinking that Matt Hoffman has already been talking to us. Not at all. So what I did is I created a survey. I sent it to every senator. I sent it to every representative. And I said, I'd like to know if you're going to sign our petition. Because it's important, again, transparency. Your constituents need to know where you stand on this position. So I said, the choices are you will sign it, you won't sign it, you have signed it, or hell no, I'm not going to sign it, I'm with Jerry. Or I'm on shit. Because what we're going to do, we're going to let everybody know where each representative. I did receive a response from Rodney Creech. I think he's District 40, I think. Down in Denver.
Probably.
All right? And he said no. Okay. He's not for the people then. He's a socialist. That's what we're all. They're all socialists. But by the way, anybody in this room think socialism is the way to go?
A lot of college students do. Surprising percentage.
People say, well, Brian, what's the difference between socialism and communism? And I said, it's really just the size of the gun.
Right?
So, but let me tell you this. Video I was reporting Representative Dan Troy at a town hall meeting. Again, I got my camera at the ready. He said that, and I quote, that public school funding is the purest form of socialism, redistribution of wealth. It's not me. That's him saying. And I also hear a lot of representatives say that the collective is the way to go. So then I asked, is our 250-year experiment, is it over? Are we going to sit back and say, okay, we're going to let this generation, they're going to be socialists? And I see what's happening at in other states, New York City, voting in a communist. I'm saying, the more that I pull back the curtain, it's worse than I thought. Article 6, Section 2, Ohio Constitution, clearly defines that it is the responsibility of the state with school funding. To give the seniors the abolishment of property taxes when they're 65 is going to cost $3 billion. 3% of their $100 billion budget, or 6% of their general fund budget. When they're spending more money, continue to spend money on Brown Stadium and many other things, rather than the people, it's about time we have change. We need new blood in the state. There's no question in my mind. That's coming. Then I thought about it and I said, in Lake County, we spend $1.8 million on a third-party appraiser to appraise property values. I then asked myself the question, what is the role of government? Is the role of government to be in the valuation of properties? How did that come about? Lake County auditor and treasurer said, Ryan, if you don't have property taxes, you won't need an auditor and a treasurer in every county. And my response was, well, let's just start. People don't realize. And I tell other groups that I've spoken to, I said, listen, if the only problem that you have is that your favorite team is down by 10 at halftime, you're part of the problem. We're not engaged, when someone mentioned that, we're not engaged in our everyday life or in what's happening with us. We just assume, and I'll plead guilty to this, I assumed when I went to the ballot box and I voted for that guy, I'm doing my duty, and I'm thinking that he's looking out for me. Nothing could be worse. I was so wrong. So I'm, as far as if you eliminate, if we got $1.8 million in Lincoln County, I said, how much are we spending on third-party appraisals that don't need to be done? Well, I know we're asking for a seismic change. If we get it on the ballot, the legislators are worried that it's going to go away. And that would be January 1st, 2027. No more property taxes. Now, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of advertising, a lot of fear-mongering. You're going to spend, some of you say they're going to spend $100 million to defeat this. But what we need to do is we need to wake the people up. If you believe in freedom and liberty, you got to fight for it.